Introduction: Distorted Perceptions, in its original form, was a novel which I began at the age of 18. I wrote it, on and off, in extremely difficult circumstances, until finally forced to give up, when I became severely depressed, at 26. I'd almost completed my first draft, at the time. For many subsequent years, I worked on other writing projects, and was prolific as a poet, but Distorted Perceptions has never left my heart. I started to write it again in recent years, but from scratch, since I could only find parts of the original outline, which had pages missing, and none of my previous manuscripts or notes. Anything that is worded as it was before, would literally have to be some part of the novel that I remembered, having read it over so many times. The opening paragraph is, I believe, close to the original. I retained most of the original plot, although for many parts, had to go by memory alone for the details. I changed a few aspects, which in itself, presented issues. Still more alterations occurred, as I wrote, some of which were major. I did try to stay as true as I could to what I felt, in my heart, my 18 to 26-year-old self would have intended, since I do see it as her story, first and foremost. However, the ending changed drastically. There are strong autobiographical elements, but it is by no means an autobiography or memoir, and should not be read as such. However, I have used the novel as therapy, and it has helped me to work through many of the painful events in my own life. The novel doesn't fit neatly into any genre or category. This is perhaps appropriate, as I have never fitted in, either. The story is dedicated to all who have believed in and supported me. You know who you are. I first met Kev Tanner in September 1983, at my brother, Danny's, 21st. I was 17, at the time. My eldest brother, Matthew, was 25, and my sisters, Catherine and Sarah, aged 19 and 14, respectively. I was helping my mother and younger sister to prepare for the party, which had mainly involved rearranging the furniture, in order to create a dance floor in our living room, and identifying valuable items, which would need to be moved to comparative safety. We were currently in the, thankfully decent-sized, kitchen, sorting out the food and drink. The dining room table, covered with a russet tablecloth, had been temporarily moved there. That table held the food, and the smaller, formica breakfast table, the drinks, primarily cans, of both the alcoholic and soft drink varieties. Sarah looked the most like our mother, tall and slender, with glossy, raven black hair which, in my sister's case, was almost waist length. I'd never strongly resembled Mum, or any of my siblings. My red hair came from Dad's side. In truth, I'd always felt like the ugly sister, compared to both Catherine and Sarah. Mum had, incredibly, agreed to go to her sister's for the evening, trusting us to behave like responsible adults, and not smash the place up in her absence, as if, right? Not that I particularly cared. I wasn't exactly in the mood for partying, and it made me feel physically sick, each time I thought about the reason why, each time I remembered. And you say Fiona definitely has the spanner, Sarah? Yes, Mum. I told you that before. So, where is she? I'm sure she'll be here soon. I think Tracy's dad is bringing them both. Well, I hope they're here before Daniel. It might not be a surprise party as such, but it would still be nice to have the happy birthday banner up before he and Hannah arrive. I know I should have made more food. Look at all these cans of beer. It's a disaster waiting to happen. A lot of young people, getting drunk, without any decent food inside them. I looked at the plates, piled high with sandwiches, quiche, and sausage rolls. Only Mum would worry that she should have made more food, but I knew better than to point this out. It wasn't about the food. I'm sure everyone will be sensible, said Sarah, and it is Danny's 21st. We couldn't not have alcohol. Of course, you won't be drinking anything alcoholic, Sarah. Technically, Lucy shouldn't either, since you're both underage, but I'm not totally naive, and really, you youngsters are beyond me. However, I do draw the line at 14-year-olds drinking. It's not happening under this roof. Yeah, right. I couldn't imagine Sarah drinking, even when she finally did reach 18. She was a complete angel. Bless her, didn't take after either Kath or myself, that was for sure. Mum, I said, endeavoring to control my temper, won't Sylvia be expecting you? Not for another hour or so. I told her I had to help the two of you well, and Catherine too, except that she isn't here yet. I don't know what's keeping her. Probably flirting with some guy, I suggested. She can't always get off work on time, said Sarah, her tone defensive. She always saw the best in everyone, and I loved her for that. And please remember to be surprised when Danielle and Hannah announce their engagement, said Mum. Yeah, biggest surprise of all time. Seriously, Hannah Jackson is just about the most boring person I've ever met. Nice enough, but totally, mind-numbingly boring. I visualized Hannah, with her long, light brown hair, wearing that awful beige cardigan of hers. I mean, remember that girl Danny used to go out with, Melanie someone or other? His taste has certainly changed. Sarah frowned. Well, I'm thrilled for them both. They seem really happy. I don't know why you're always so mean about Hannah, Lucy. I think she's lovely. You just like everyone. No, I don't. Anyway, what's wrong with liking people? Nothing, if they're worth liking. All right, girls, that's enough. Lucy, Sarah's right. Hannah's a polite, sweet-natured girl. Believe me, I, for one, am delighted that she and your brother are getting married. She's certainly a much better influence than girls like that Melanie, and I'm relieved Daniel's finally settling down. You know, you still haven't confirmed whether James will be coming. That was my mother for you. The woman didn't know when to shut up. I finally lost it. I don't give a damn about James M. Slintire, and whether he comes or not. He chucked me, okay? Satisfied. So, you won't be getting any more marriage announcements tonight. Now, I'm going to my room, and if you need any more help, you'll have to wait for Catherine to show up, if she can be bothered, and don't tell me not to slam the door. I'm not a kid. And yes, I slammed it. She gave me 5 minutes, before tapping on the bedroom door. Come in, Sarah. It had to be my sister, as Mum would simply have barged in. Sarah had the decency to knock, even though we shared a room, and she was effectively knocking on her own bedroom door. I knew something was wrong. Sarah sat down next to me, on my bed. You've been quiet for weeks. Are you sure James meant to finish with you? You've heard Rose before. Well, I thought I might have misunderstood, to begin with, but he hasn't been returning my calls. Then, I saw him in town, with a group of his mates from work, and he blanked me, so I don't know what to think, but it's not looking good. Just do one thing for me, okay? Don't be nice to me. I'll bloody cry, and I'm sick of crying. Sarah looked so confused, that I felt guilty for making the one request of her, with which she couldn't possibly comply. I love you, Lucy. I'm here for you. Well, that finished me off, naturally. I broke down completely, and allowed my 14-year-old sister to hold me, and gently stroke my hair. It's okay to cry. I think you're wonderful. If James McIntyre really doesn't love you, he must be crazy. You're better off without him. TM not, though, I love him so much. I've always loved him since we were kids. I won't ever get over him, Sarah, not ever. I don't care what anyone says. I'll love him until I die, and I won't even try to get over him, because I can't. I know, Luce. I know you love him. You're all right. Everything's going to be fine. I didn't contradict her, because it hurt to get the words out, and I was beginning to lose my voice. Anyway, I just sobbed in her arms, like a baby. Is he seeing anyone else? Asked Sarah, at length. I don't know. I'd calmed down, by this point, but all the crying had left me feeling shattered. I don't think so. Then there's hope. You really think so? Yes, I do. I smiled at her, weakly. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to so badly that, for one insane moment, I actually almost did. The front door opened and slammed. Catherine talked briefly to Mum, before heading upstairs. The last thing I needed right then was to deal with my elder sister, but there was no avoiding it. Congratulate me, then. I've just achieved what clearly neither of you could manage. In those days, Catherine had shoulder-length, blonde from a bottle, permed hair, and wore ridiculous quantities of jewelry, an eclectic mix of gold, silver, and fashion jewelry. Congratulations. What's this one's name, or did you not catch it? Oh, very funny, Lucy. For your information, I persuaded Mum to leave for her sisters. Bye, girls. Have fun. We will, Mum. You, too, called Catherine, following which, the front door duly slammed. As simple as that. See? Said Catherine. Now, what would you do without me? Well, we've actually done quite a bit without you, I pointed out, as in, pretty much everything really. Apart from, admittedly, getting rid of our mother. Credit where due, but you've not exactly done much, in the grand scheme of things, have you? We do appreciate your help though, Kath, added Sarah. Thanks. At least someone appreciates my invaluable contribution around here. Lucy Ryman. She studied me for a moment. You've been crying again. No prizes for guessing who that's over. Don't have a go at Lucy. She's really upset. You can be completely insensitive at times. Somehow, Sarah's extreme understatement about Catherine's being insensitive at times annoyed me almost more than my elder sister's insensitivity, which was certainly to be expected. "I wouldn't expect you to understand, Catherine," I said. "It's not as if you've ever cared much about any of the geese you so readily get off with. I still have to work with Amy Clark, after you decided it would be a bit of fun to screw her fiancé. Oh, get real. It does take two, you know, and Rupert wasn't exactly complaining. Anyway, their little engagement is back on, isn't it?" T believes so, yes. All's well, then. What's the big deal? I'm not even answering that, I told her. Don't, then. The subject's boring anyway, if you ask me. It's ridiculous to get engaged so young, and it's not as if Amy's even pregnant. I thought Danny and Hannah were bad, but at least they waited until they were just about in their 20s. Don't know. That's kind of cynical, said Sarah, playing with a strand of her hair. How about romance? Romance is dead, I told her. Interesting, that. I think there's finally something I agree with Catherine about. Well, it's a pity you don't listen to me more. You might actually learn something. Doubt is nothing I want to know, anyway. Whatever. Sarah, can I borrow your mascara? It wasn't really a question, as she grabbed it already. Sure, replied Sarah, even though her response was irrelevant. It's not exactly as if he's moping around over you, is it? Catherine stood in front of the full-length mirror, expertly applying Sarah's mascara, even though there was no real point, as my elder sister would inevitably redo all of her makeup, after changing into whatever she planned to wear later. For my part, I wasn't bothering with any of that. The navy trousers and cream silk blouse, which I'd been wearing all day at work, would be fine. So what if I stank of sweat? A quick squirt of perfume should fix that, and, if it didn't, too bad. Sarah looked distressed. Catherine, please don't. I don't think it's even true. What do you mean? I had a horrible, slightly sick feeling at the back of my throat, and felt momentarily dizzy. I'd barely registered Catherine's words at first, but Sarah's reaction had forced me to do so. Will one of you tell me what the hell you're talking about? Lucy, it's probably not even true. You told me that, as far as you know, James isn't seeing anyone else. I'm sure, if he was, he'd have told you, reasoned Sarah. Can't believe you haven't heard about James and Erica by now. It's all over town, said Catherine. Everyone knows. Erica who? Erica Lee. Catherine, she's a lesbian, I pointed out, exasperated, but also relieved. It was just Kath, talking out of her backside. Erica Lee had been living with our cousin, Tara, until roughly 6 months ago. Ever heard of bisexuality? Yeah, right, whatever you say. Anyway, she's way too old for James. She must be about 30. It's ridiculous. 27. But yes, I see your point, said Catherine. There is an age gap. Don't think James would go out with a 27-year-old, either, said Sarah. Anyway, he's in love with Lucy. Yeah, so much so that he's basically finished with her, remarked Catherine. And it really is all over town about him and Erica. Is it, Sarah? I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. Some chance. My heart was thudding, and I was on the verge of tears again, seemingly my usual state these days. No, I don't think so. I'm sure Catherine was exaggerating. Sarah was fiddling more than usual with her hair, as she generally did when nervous. But you heard it too, didn't you? I pressed, even though I wasn't sure why. I didn't want confirmation that this rumor, true or false, had been all over town, and I, like the complete idiot I clearly was, had been the last to know, and I didn't want to bully Sarah over this either, and make her feel bad. It was hardly her fault. Yet, I couldn't seem to stop myself. Couldn't let this go. Who told you, Sarah? Tracy. Tracy? Where the hell would she hear something like that? Kids in your year can't be that interested in James and Erica, surely? Her sister, I think. Tracy's sister. And where did she? No, on second thoughts, I don't think we need to go there. I get the picture. My mind was racing, and I knew I couldn't leave this do nothing at all. Listen, I need to talk to Matt about something. I'm going to see if I can catch him. Matt? Sarah looked confused. I don't know if he'll be home from work yet, but in any case, he's going to be here later. You can talk to him then. He isn't coming over until pretty late. I really need to ask him something, and I'd rather not do it over the phone. It will only take 15 minutes to walk over there. I might be able to catch Charlotte, too. Charlotte, my best friend, who would also be at the party. But I caught Sarah's eye, and she understood. Our eldest brother, Matthew, and his partner, Claire, lived very close to the McIntyres, and Charlotte and her mother were next-door neighbors to the McIntyre family. I probably would drop in on both Matthew and Charlotte, whilst in the vicinity. My glare, in Catherine's direction, dared her to say a word, and for once, she kept her mouth shut. The Mslintyres' back garden was directly opposite.